Hello, welcome back to another video, and today I'm speeding through this because this fucking 17th attempt at recording this, and it's 3 AM again. This is the 10 by 10 by 2 or 200 block 3 by 3 TNT Trapdoor I made almost exactly a year ago, or like August, whatever, fuck it. And this 10 by 10 by 2, around 3 days after I posted the video, someone made a fucking 9 by 9 by 2, so Sacred Redstone gave me only around 3 days to enjoy myself. And yeah, whatever. This is not his 9 by 9 by 2, this is one I made on my own 2 weeks ago, which it uses a completely different mechanism from what his used, so yeah, no plagiates right there. And then friend Petapetilon reminded me that if you have a square n by n, that n minus 1 times n plus 1 is exactly 1 smaller than n by n. So this is 9 by 9, this is 8 by 10, this is 160 blocks, this is 162 blocks. So I made an observerless version which is 2 blocks smaller than Sacred Redstone's and mine's tied world record from before. This took 2 weeks to make because it's complicated as fuck. It doesn't look complex considering it mainly consists out of 1-tick repeaters everywhere. Just 1-tick repeaters and 2 comparators. Yeah, whatever. But trust me, there is some high tech going on in here. So let's just see this in action, I guess. Hooray, it works. And yeah. And this also works. Hooray. So let's just break down what's going on right here. So when we turn this on, this or off, this torch turns on. This torch then fires the top dropper, placing the item into the bottom one, and then placing the item from the bottom one, because it fires afterwards, into the top one. So the item will go into the top one, powering this piston through this comparator if this torch wouldn't power this dust to lock the comparator right here. So this basically does nothing on the closing, which is what it should do. Conveniently enough, the redstone is redirected into this piston, although a dot would have done the same. Next up, this repeater then transfers the signal to this piston and this double dual edge. So first off, it does a dual edge on the piston right here, responsible for the storage, and then it also does a dual edge on the main double piston extender circuit. And yeah, this dual edge then fires or empties the top dropper so that this comparator will reset to nothing, and 4 ticks later, which is enough time to let this piston pulse its block through here doing the double piston extension, it will fire this down here. This piston right here converts the 1 tick from the dual edge into a solid signal again. So this is a T flip-flop. So we're using a dual edge to toggle a T flip-flop, which basically translates or shifts, or I guess encrypts the state of this lever back here again, which it then uses to fire another dual edge. Like, what the fuck, Cube? Why are you doing this? Well, smart viewer who figured out that this was bullshit. We need a 1 tick to do the storage over here for like the closing and the opening. So we need another 1 tick over here, but since we can't generate it in this corner because there is no room, we have to generate it in this corner where there is plenty of room. And to the smartest of you smart viewers out there, because I know you're all very smart, this dust right here creates yet another T flip-flop right here next to the other T flip-flop, by the way. And you can see that in this dust locking the hopper, preventing the item from flowing back down, basically turning this into a T flip-flop. And as soon as we flick deliver, you can see that this redstone dust is no longer pointing into the dropper. into the hopper, meaning that it doesn't lock it and it will just pulse when it does its shit. So, yay. Now, for those of you who are wondering, why the flip does this pulse after it fires? Because the slab doesn't power it, and it's redirected, so it can't point in there. The trick is in the ticks. The redstone block isn't there. It's block 36 being moved around. In that time, this torch, or this dust is off, and this torch will turn on, and then turning this wire on, and then the block solidifies again. And in that time, this dust points into the dropper, and the torch basically pulses this thing again, giving it the final pulse for the retraction, whilst also doing the stuff. So, yeah, to summarize, we have a solid state going into a pulse, going into a state, going into a pulse, going into a state again. And all of that just to shave off 2 fucking blocks. Yeah. Now, some of you might be asking, why is this repeater right here? Why? I mean, I get where you're coming from if we just place the torch right here and pretend this was never here. Now, the smartest of smart genius Einstein viewers under you will already know that as soon as I flick this lever, the double piston extender will fuck up. Now, this might seem completely obligatory and pulled out of thin air, but it's true. And the Super Einstein squared viewers will understand that this piston is one ticking in the exact moment this piston tries to push, and thus this just won't push because it can't push an extending piston. So yeah, I installed a delay over to here so that this block is in here and this piston is extending before this piston tries to extend, and thus this piston suppresses this piston, and everybody is happy. And yeah, that's it really. I got my WR back, and I'll hopefully keep it for eternity, since everyone is using observers now, so yeah, whatever. Although it's really hard. It took me 2 weeks to design this, and I tried my hardest to shave 1 layer off here, and it just wouldn't want to work because you can't really create a dual edge in the space. So you have to go for a falling edge and a button. And if you go for a falling edge and a button, you need another T flip-flop pulse right here, and it just doesn't work out in the front and in the back. So I'll claim this is the smallest possible 3x3 TNT Trapdoor without the use of observers, because observers, I don't know, you could just fucking do this, have an observer up here facing upwards, because the main difficulty is that you can't traverse a signal down here. Have an observer facing upwards or some bullshit, have another observer reading it like this, and then whatever, I'm not getting into it, I'm getting mad already again. So yeah, thank you for watching. Smallest possible 3x3 TNT Trapdoor without the use of observers, and this works in 1.6 and above. If you want a tutorial, this is really simple. Just like pause the video here, you can literally see everything besides the torch below here, the piston down here, the dropper obviously here, and the other dropper down here. This dropper faces upwards, this dropper faces downwards, and the rest is 1 tick repeaters, and there's another torch down here and here, I guess. But of course, if you want a in-depth tutorial with block lists and shades, just like leave a comment, I'll do one. And Thank you for watching. I almost went to buy without saying that. And bye.